UK natural gas, one of the few days that actually we're seeing some of that pressure going down instead of up, which is squeezing some of the household income. Don't forget to look at sovereign bonds. It really tells the story of the differential, for example, between the Italian 5-year and the German 2-year. This is what else we're looking at overall. If we have, of course, a picture of what the Fed does, and now this possible reversal of 180 degrees from Jay Powell, it could reprice some of the yield curves in the US, some of the Treasury, and then pound. We still have discussions, of course, ongoing with the EU on what happens on fishing rights, 132.35, and then euro dollar 112.78. Now let's get straight to the Bloomberg Business Flash. Here's Laura Wright. Hi, Laura.
Francine, German factory orders plummeted in October as demand for investment goods declined, putting the economy on a weak footing in the final months of the year. Orders fell almost 7%, following a 1.3% increase the previous month. That's the biggest drop in the volatile index since August and a worse reading than forecast by any economist in Bloomberg's survey. Evergrande's long-awaited debt restructuring may finally be on the cards after the developer announced it plans to actively engage with offshore creditors. That's being seen as an acknowledgement that its $300 billion of liabilities have become unsustainable. A 30-day grace period on $2 bond interest payments ends today. The UK's biggest business lobby has cut its forecasts for growth this year and next, warning rising costs and shortages are hampering the nation's recovery. The Confederation of British Industry now expects an expansion of 6.9% in 2021, down from 8.2%. It blames a weaker performance in recent months with headwinds caused by inflation and supply chain issues. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund is set to raise as much as $3.1 billion through the sale of
those every 2020 spillovers and PMIs and all of those for getting our forward-looking information, I think.
I mean, if you look at crude, it's had a pretty...
Live asking people...
I don't know whether even I should ask you that, but...
What it tells us over the weekends, it gives us a good read for conditions going into the next week, right? It's a very good proxy for what tech stocks are going to do in particular. And I think the Nasdaq is somewhat underperforming again today. And I think, you know, this is just... I think crypto is just showing us that there has been big drawdowns in market, that liquidity has been, you know, has drained out of a lot of markets over the last couple of days, and really that people are liquidating positions in order to get some cash back. And I think we're seeing that in crypto right now. I think crypto is a little bit behind the curve, but you know, I think the stock market will give the crypto market direction going forward.
Eddie, yeah, we're also looking at China, of course, with Evergrande and some of the China market bulls, maybe rereading some of the signs from President Xi. How will that play out in the next couple of days?
You know what, China has been a really difficult one to call, and China, you know, they've been pushing back against a lot of the big tech firms, and that's really worrying for investors in China, obviously. Now, I don't see that changing because the direction of travel has been set this year, and I think we're going to see that continue. Now, for the property market, that's also still very worrying. I think we haven't seen the end of those ripples yet. At the moment, the market doesn't think that this is going to be systemic for the rest of the world, but we shall see. We shall see towards the end of the year.
Eddie, it's going to be a big week for the markets, a bigger week in the Van der Waalt household, because there's a puppy. He's called Rufus. I mean, does he keep you up at night? I know I'm expecting a lot of puppy content, and there's always an economic side to this as well.
I'm just happy my talk with you hasn't been interrupted yet. I've got 2 doors in between me and the puppy at the moment, but you know, at some point this week there's going to be chaos. I know it.
All right, welcome to Puppy Rufus, and we're expecting a lot more puppy content. Otherwise, I'd be disappointed. Eddie Van der Waalt there also as a side job looking at the markets. Now, let's also get some of the biggest movers on the markets. Let's check in on some of the stocks. At the open, here's our Danny Berger. Danny, IAG, of course, at the forefront.
Yeah, a very volatile week, be 6 days for IAG. We are looking the shares at the open up more than 1%. There have been some concerns surrounding airlines given the UK introducing new travel requirements. You need a COVID test now 48 hours before traveling into the country. But recall the British Airways parent has fallen 15% since not this past Friday, but the Friday before, when Omicron fears really started to come into the fore. So this is a nice little barometer of buying the dip, expectations for normalizations. I should also say that EasyJet telling the FT they expect to see pre-pandemic levels of travel by summertime. So some good news sprinkled in there as well, along with this buying of the dip. Francine, another company I'm looking at this morning is Roche. Shares are up about 0.7%. They have a new antigen test that they're putting out, hoping to have out for professionals by the start of next year that will help distinguish this authorization again for the start of 2022. Potential M&A speculation is taking a state B, citing
Intelligence's Sam Fazeli. Plus, we also hear the view.
Major hub in the United Kingdom, connecting, of course, the U.S., New York, Los Angeles, and other locations. So I see this as